Dear God, please send me an AMG. Oh, thanks God. What is it? A baby AMG? Hello, my name is Elvin and welcome to Action on Cars. The topic of today's video is why you should pull your wallet out right now and buy the baby AMG, the Mercedes C450 AMG. I'm gonna cover the car from various angles, but there are three topics I'm gonna make particular accent on. One, the reliability and common issues, what to look out for when buying one of these cars, and how to service it if you own one. Number two, we're going to talk about the differences between C450 and the C43 AMG. And number three, I'm going to take you on a virtual first-person drive so you get to experience what it is like to be behind the wheel. Let's get started. Back in 2012, 2013, BMW 335i's with their N54 and N55 engines were roaring down the streets, humiliating Mercedes C300 owners. And Mercedes had nothing to counterpose to the BMW. So with the introduction of W205 C-Class, Mercedes at first introduced C400. But BMW also upped their game with the introduction of B58. So C400 was not enough anymore, and Mercedes and AMG had to do something about it. So in late 2015, 2016, they introduced this, the C450 AMG, aka a baby AMG. In later years, they changed their, for marketing purposes or whatever, they changed their naming convention. They do that all the time. They changed C450 badge to C43 AMG. But is it much different than C43? Let's find out. Let's have a brief walk around the car. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time just walking around the exterior. You are likely you have seen W205s if you are watching this video, but there are a few things I would like to draw attention to. First of all, let's see if there are any visual differences between C43 and C450 AMG. For someone who is not into Mercedes, there are no differences, virtually no differences in the exterior of the two models, C43 and C450. The only difference is that C450s initially had the Diamond Star grille. The owner of this car, who is actually the viewer of the channel and nicely provided the car for the review, she's gonna be in the video later. If you are local, send me a message. I would love to review your car too. But the owner of the car replaced the grille, and I think this is called like Pan America grille or whatever. It's you know, instead of diamonds, you have this kind of like horizontal lines. I think it looks actually great. It makes the car a little more aggressive. So other than grille, I don't even really know if there are any like differences exterior wise between the C43 and C450. I actually have C43 coming up next on Action on Cars. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That video will be posted in the upcoming weeks. The C43 might have different badging over here. I don't actually remember, let me know. But the C450 just says an AMG. It's funny that the car only has the AMG badging on just few places. So this is one place, another one is in the back, and also the floor mat. That's it. When you open the door sills still say Mercedes-Benz instead of the AMG. The rear end is exactly the same as C43 except for the model name, of course. We have double exhaust tips, and the car actually does sound great. I should say, if you are about to get one of these cars, make sure you get the pre-facelift, because the facelift cars, the exhaust actually, I believe, doesn't have those like nice burbles to it anymore because of the regulations. The spoiler is not factory, the owner added, and I think it looks really cool. Combined with the black panoramic sunroof and black spoiler, they complement each other so nicely. Now let's talk about the boring stuff, the reliability, common issues. If you don't like this type of information, you can scroll through the video to the driving section. The engine under the hood is Mercedes' M276. V6, 3-liter V6 bi-turbo engine. The engine has been around for forever, really. Initially, it was a naturally aspirated engine in the previous generation C-Class W204, and then with in the W205, they added two turbos because they needed to compete with the BMW. The engine is considered very reliable. However, it does have its own weak points, and I would like to draw your attention to those guys. Overall, low mileage, good service. Engines should serve you really well. It's not known for any catastrophic issues, except One weak point potentially, I'm not saying this happens to all the engines, but one potential weak point is the cam adjusters. This is, for whatever reason, is a common problem for all Mercedeses made in the same years. You know, even E-classes from the same years had the same issue. The rumor has it that the AMG engineers were at the Oktoberfest drinking beer when developing the cam adjusters. But for some reason, the cam adjusters may not work properly, and you will know if you have cam adjuster issue if you hear a rattle, like at a cold start, the chain rattle. If you hear that, you should take care of that as soon as possible. If you ignore that, more problems will develop, potentially like chain will get out of timing, or the camshaft itself will get hurt. So if you hear any rattling at cold start, take your car to your knowledgeable, independent Mercedes mechanic. Don't go to the dealership, and get it fixed. Second, the timing cover, again, on the cam adjusters themselves may leak. Just like with all Mercedes engines or German engines, you know, as they age, gaskets will develop a leak. That's usually like on this side, especially on the passenger side. If there is a leak from the timing cam adjuster cover, please fix that gasket ASAP, because that oil drips right onto the alternator and it's gonna destroy your alternator. Oh, another reason for the chain rattle might be that in the earlier models, Mercedes did not put on check valves in there. So the upper chain tensioner itself is the reason why the engine might have a rattling issue. I had that same problem in my E550 V8 engine, and the dealer just put the pin there, and the issue was gone. So that if you hear chain rattle, that's a potential fix. Oil can get into cam adjuster solenoid and potentially travel all the way up to the ECU and may fry the ECU. So that's a big issue. I would check my cam adjuster valve solenoids frequently for any oil residue in it. And there's also like there's a little adapter sold on the internet. I think Mercedes sells it themselves. You can install. That's a cheap insurance against the big problem. Now let's talk a little bit about the issues that may arise as you put more miles on the engine. Spark plugs, coil packs are nice service items. I would actually replace both of them, both the spark plugs and the coils, at about like 60,000-70,000 miles at most. That will save you a trip to the mechanic down the road. Thermostat, and there's kind of like thermostat inlet that may develop a coolant inlet that may develop leak. If you have that issue, make sure you replace both the thermostat and the coolant lines at the same time. Sometimes the actuator or valve on the wastegate may act up. You will know if that's you will know you have that issue if you hear like abnormal noise from the engine. Another super easy fix. Mercedes, to give them a credit, have the best engines among direct injection engines in terms of avoiding carbon deposits, and they've achieved it by installing a great oil separator. So you don't need a catch can. Oil separator does a great job. But however, on the high mileage cars, maybe like more than 100,000 miles, that oil separator may start failing, and you will know if it's failing by checking your air filter boxes. Look into the air filter box. If you see any oil in there, it's time to replace your oil separator. And the transmission, this thing in C450 specifically, is the 7-speed speed shift. C43 had a 9-speed transmission. 7-speed has been around for ages. In my mind, it's one of the most bulletproof Mercedes engines transmissions of the recent years. No known issues. Just service it every 70,000 miles. You should be good. Let's take the AMG out for a drive, guys. I have the owner with me.
What's up? It's Christina. Welcome to the channel, Accent on Cars, the best review in all of Boston.
Yes, thank you so much for providing your car. If you guys are from the area and you would like me to review your car, please send me a message. I'll be more than happy. So as soon as you get into the C450 AMG, the first thing you notice is that just like all W205 interiors, this one looks so cool and modern, especially compared to the W204, which has very outdated interior. I noticed that the dashboard is covered in leather. It's like fully covered in leather. It looks great. We have this aluminum kind of like trim bit here. Looks so much better than wood in my mind, and fits the sporty nature of this car. I like the red interior, red with black. I love it. It's actually really cool. And the one thing I noticed is that I have driven maybe like 6 or 7 C300s, and all of them had like very kind of like squeaky center console. In the AMG, maybe there's like more quality control in place for AMGs. I'm pushing on it. It has like minor kind of creak to it when I push, but as you drive, there's no creak. So yeah. So we have a Burmeister sound system. One thing I love about this instrument cluster is the checkered flag thing in the way that your speed and tachometer are. The engine revs all the way up to 6,500 RPM. So should be fun to rev it up. So Christina, tell us a little bit about your ownership experience, whether anything have gone wrong with it, or what do you like or not like about C450.
So C450, I've owned it for about 1 year now. I would say my favorite thing about this vehicle is actually the reliability. I was coming from BMW beforehand, so I had a 3 Series, which is like the competitor with the C-Class, and that had so many issues with it, oil leaks, things like that. And my favorite thing about, I guess, Mercedes, or specifically this Mercedes, is I've had no issues with it whatsoever. If you want to just drive it to work, comfort, that's fine. Very, very luxurious, very comfortable, super smooth like suspension. I love that so much. But if you want to throw it into Sport Plus mode, it is twin turbo V6, 0 to 60 like 4 seconds. One of the best.
I actually heard a lot of kind of like when I read about 0 to 60, it looks like based on the conditions and tires, it ranges anywhere from 4.1 to 4.9. So I think like realistically on the regular street tires, it's more likely to be like in 4.5 seconds.
4.5 seconds.
Yeah, I think so. Like, but you can definitely.
I'm not counting when I'm going through gears. I'm just flying, and you feel a lot of the power like go to the back because it is a rear-wheel drive bias. So you just hold on tight to the steering wheel and shift through the gears. The shift timing is impeccable with these vehicles. That's one thing that they modified when it came to the C300 versus the C450 is they cut the shift timing in half.
I love this steering wheel. I love this kind of like squared off the bottom,
flat bottom,
yeah, and it's like the thickness of it is like so thick in your hands, comfortable. I recently drove an S5. If you guys are into Audi, go watch that video after watching this one. I think compared to that Audi, this one is actually feels torquier. So we have like 385 horsepower and I believe, or 365 horsepower. 365 horsepower and 385 torque. Yep. So that's a lot of torque. 0 to 60 and 3/4 mile. This V6 bi-turbo is actually as fast as the almighty M156 in the previous generation C63. Obviously now, in my mind, W204 C63, continues being the best C43 AMG because of the emotions and sounds it makes. It's a tire shredder and it makes demonical sounds.
Sport is so, because it has comfort, sport plus. Sport is so weird. I don't understand the need.
Really?
For sport.
Okay, let's go all the way up to Sport Plus then. And I see the buttons on the I see like the 2 red LEDs lit up next to the suspension, indicating that we are in the stiffest mode. The
stiffest mode, Sport Plus, turns traction control off. Yep.
Gosh, the transmission.
You feel your heart?
It downshifted so dramatically. Yeah, exhaust makes nice burbles, on the upshifts, and let's actually see if there. Oh, there's. Oh, I like those burbles. Downshift.
Sheesh.
I hope the microphone picks up the exhaust note, guys. It sounds so good. The 9-speed DCT, the C43, is faster. However, the 9-speed DCT is not as smooth as the 7-speed transmission. All right, we actually have an opportunity to start from a standstill. Just like that, in 2 gears, you are going over 60 miles an hour. There was a little bit of a turbo lag from a stop, but as soon as the turbo spool, it goes really fast.
Right.
Tune like the stage 1, it will be a lot more responsive and a lot more playful.
Right.
Steering
response.
it's responsive. It's very responsive in sport. Sport, I wish it was a little heavier though, like even heavier than this. It got heavier as I put it in Sport Plus, but I wish it was a little more heavy. So there's not much kind of like feedback coming from the front axle, but I like that it's very. It is.
Holy crap! It just kicked out. That's crazy.
Yeah. If you switch off the traction control, you can definitely get that rear end.
A couple people told me, "Oh, you can't kick this thing out. You can't kick this thing out." Yes, you absolutely can.
Yep.
I have felt it.
I mean, 65% to the rear wheel is not a joke.
Right. You feel a lot of the power go to the back.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that or if I don't. For daily driving, I don't know. But for fun, yeah. And that's factory. That's factory. That's no tune, no exhaust, nothing. That's just how AMG made it. I think there's two arguments. Is the C43 a real AMG, and then is the C450 a real AMG? Because I heard people say that it's comparable to like the M Sport, because the official name of the car is C450 AMG. That's the name. And people were saying, oh, it's a bolt-on kind of tune, and in reality it's not. It shares some of the same internals as the C43 AMG, the same exact chassis, completely different chassis body style than the C300.
The roads are horrible.
Then it's not comparable to a M Sport. It's not a bolt-on. It's not, people. I think the argument is that in order for it to be an AMG, it has to be manufactured by one person or in the factory. But my theory is that basically they introduced this car in 2016, and then as their first kind of like entry-level AMG C-Class lineup.
Sorry.
Okay. And then they introduced the C43, I think a year after, and this car has everything is the same as the C43 other than the transmission. The price difference, I believe, is about $20,000.
Yeah, so that's a good point actually. Like if you guys want to have like a mid-level AMG, but you don't have money for C43, you can get the C450 if you can find it, because this car is somewhat rare. That's another cool thing about it, because it's it's a limited production car. So if you can find it, buy it. Like you are not gonna get feel much difference between C43 and 450. I love how quick the downshifts are. Okay, one more rev and then I think we should be good. Down into the second. Yeah, the car feels very agile. And when you are in the right gear, the torque is instantaneous.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be expected for a twin turbo. Okay.
Yeah. No, I know this road very well. So yeah, this road over here in Mexico is actually has no speed limit. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and let us know if we missed anything in the comments. And
Let us know if you buy one.
yes, shoot us a message. All right, see you in the future episodes.